Good morning. I'm Roger Upham. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a member of your board of directors. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. We are a multi-generational community of atheists, theists, agnostics, held together by covenant, not creed. Together we share the values of courage, reverence, and compassion. May you know deep welcome and belonging in this place. You were invited to be that spirit of welcome this morning by greeting your neighbor and saying hello. Those of you online can share your greetings in the chat box. To share a request for today's meditation, please place it in the chat box before the opening hymn and add it to a meditation bowl. Please gain consent before you use someone's full name. The meditation bowl is in the Soul Work Center, along with some activities to help people of all ages engage in today's service. As a multi-generational community, we welcome the noises and movements of little ones bring to our service. We ask everyone present to think about ways that you can help those people around you feel more welcome, however they choose to participate in today's service. And in the spirit of welcome, we ask everyone to wear their name tags and please silence your cell phones. Reverend Jessica is watching online today as she has a cold and is grateful to Reverend Jack for reading her sermon and for all who either mask or watch from home when having cold symptoms. In upcoming community news announcements, we are bringing back the annual pageant. This year it will be a no rehearsal pageant on Sunday, December 17th at 10 a.m., where all are invited to participate. We will need costume makers and stagehands to help make this a success. If you are interested in being on the support team, please join us for a meeting after the service next Sunday, right here in the sanctuary. There is a pretty full table of lost and found items in the alcove today. Please check the table to see if any of these items are yours. Next Sunday will be the final Sunday before we donate the items. Right after today's 11 a.m. service, there will be an informational session about our bereavement support group. If you have lost someone close to you and are still in the bereavement process, this group might be for you. Please join us in the Whitney Young Room at 12:30. All are welcome at our services next Sunday to honor the gifts and legacies of our ancestors. You are invited to bring a photo of a loved one to place on our altar. Our ancestors encourage us to go towards joy and celebration as well. In that spirit, you are invited to come in costume or festive clothing, whatever that means to you. If you are attending online, you can email a photo of your ancestor to our graphic content specialist, Aaron, by Thursday, who will include it in the slideshow. And now a special announcement.
My name is Amy and my pronouns are she, her. We've heard from so many of you that the conversation circles that we held last year after each service were such a meaningful way to deepen community connections here at WBUUC. So we're bringing them back. For the next couple of weeks, we hope you'll join us in the social hall for a half hour of sharing and to make new connections in your WBUUC community. To participate, all you need to do is take a number on your way into the social hall. I'll have a basket there, and then sit at the table that matches your number. We will then do 3 rounds of sharing: introductions, sharing a sparklet or a learning from the service, and then an opportunity for deeper sharing with one another. This is a great way to meet new people and to help us provide a deep, intentional welcome for those who might be new to our community. I hope you'll join us.
Welcome to our church. Together we grow our souls and serve the world in love. And you are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I'm over here, and you're over there. That's what I said. Something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see? I'm over here, and you're over there. That's what I said. Something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see? I'm over here, and you're over there. That's what I said. Something between us that's greater than air. I'm over here, and you're over there. That's what I said. Something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see? I'm over here, and you're over there. There's something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see? I'm over here, and you're over there. There's something between us that's greater than air. Don't you see? I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I'm over here, and you're over there. There's something between us, always greater than air. It seems like I'm over here, and you're over there. There's something between us, always greater than air. It seems like I'm over here, and you're over there. There's something between us, always greater than air. It seems like I'm over here, and you're over there. There's something between us, always greater than air. It seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
Hello, my name is Kat, and I use any pronouns. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place.
I'm Miko, and my pronouns are they, them. The Church is a Body by Reverend Victoria Weinstein. The Church is a body. May this body breathe and be together in the spirit of hope. May it feel held by comfort. Those who seek consolation, may they find it in the solace of this moment. The Church is a body. It is as strong as all the people who have ever gathered within its walls. It is the power of all they dreamed and all that they have done. The Church is a body. It is as vulnerable as the most newborn and untried of its members. It is ancient and it is ever new. The Church is a story. It is a story of lives that are interwoven, brought together in this place and this time for the simple purpose of caring for one another and helping one another along the arduous path from birth to death. The Church is a vision. It is a vision of unity amid diversity. It is a vision of reverence for all creation. It is a vision that beckons us beyond the concerns of our own skins. In the chalice lighting, may we abide as one body in the spirit of faith, hope, and love that is the story and the vision of this church.
Will you rise in body or spirit to join me for the opening words? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our opening hymn is We Would Be One, number 318 in the gray hardcover hymnal.
I'd like to invite children forward this morning for our story. I have a few things to share with you. You can come right up front if you like and come join me. Good morning. Would you like to sit down? Hello, welcome. Here they come. And I should say, and anyone who would like to come forward, if you're young at heart or would like to just come forward and make yourself cozy for a story. So this morning, I would like to share with all of you a little bit about my story and a little bit about the story of Unitarian Universalism, because we all are kind of a little bit a part of the story of Unitarian Universalism, right? So some of you know that I grew up in a Unitarian Universalist church, kind of like all of you, and maybe like some of you. Did any of you grow up in a Unitarian Universalist church? Oh yeah, see, look around. There's a few others in the room that grew up in churches just like this one. My first home church was in Geneva, Illinois, which is a little ways away from here. And like many churches, my church, we had special words that we used to say each Sunday in the worship service. Now, I was a kid, and I really didn't know what a lot of these words meant. And some of them were really long words. I didn't really know why we said them or where they came from, but some of the words kind of seemed all right to me, and some of them really stuck with me. These were the words. I'm going to read them to you. You ready? Okay, they went. We unite in seeking to strengthen one another in a free and disciplined search for truth, to cherish and spread the universal truths of all humanity, to affirm, defend, and promote the worth of every human personality, to strive for a world community founded on justice, compassion, and peace, to encourage cooperation with people of goodwill and every land. What do you think about those words? They kind of long. There's a lot of them. What's that? Yeah, you have no idea what it means. That's right. That's okay. Yeah. I really didn't know what all of those words together all meant either at the time. And I actually had to look up the exact words that we said every week. My parents happened to have an old order of service from way back when laying around their house. So I was able to grab them from there. And that's a lot of words, and not all of them stuck with me. And in fact, sometimes I misremembered the words, but mostly I just remembered a couple of the words. Just a few of them. I remembered search for truth. I remembered worth of every human, justice, compassion, and peace. Those were the words I remembered. And so years later, I learned that as Unitarian Universalists, what's really super important to us is the promises that we make to each other and how we want to treat one another in the world that we want to build together. We call these promises covenants. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Little bit maybe. Some of you might have made a paper chain like this, a covenant in your classroom, and you may have written down promises that you make to your classmates about how you want to be together. Yep, and like that one too. Usually these covenants include words like learn together, be kind, and listen. Do you want to pass that around? And now I know that the words that we used to say in my long ago childhood were in my church. I know that those words were a kind of covenant. Search for truth, worth of every human, justice, compassion, and peace. These were all promises about what we wanted to do when we were together and about the world we wanted to build together. Does that sound right to you? Yeah, sure. In fact, they were words from the promises that Unitarian Universalist congregations make to each other, congregations like this one, and they were called our UU principles. They were, in fact, the 6 principles that were passed in the 1960s, long time ago, and then later revised into the 7 principles that were passed in the 1980s, also long ago. And now this and other congregations have added an 8th principle in the last few years. Now, there are a lot of words in our 8 UU principles. How many of you know all of the words to our 8 UU principles? No? How many of you maybe know some of the words of our 8UU principles, or maybe just some of the ideas of our 8UU principles. Yeah, that's right, and that's okay. And maybe you just remember some sparklets from our 8UU principles. And a lot of words in our promises that we make to each other have changed over the years, and that's because we all grow and change over the years too. Does that sound right? Do you all grow and change over the years? How about you all? Do you all grow and change over the years? Yeah. So some words are still included. Some may have sounded familiar to you from the words I read from my childhood. And some words were added, like spiritual growth. These are also some big long words too. Democratic process, interdependence, beloved community, dismantling racism and other oppressions. And now another group of Unitarian Universalists has proposed that we change our covenants again. What do you think about that? Does that sound about right? Because we all grow and change, so our words grow and change too. This new proposed covenant calls us to live into shared values like justice, interdependence, equity, generosity, pluralism, and transformation through the spiritual discipline of love. Some words are new, and some words are the same. And of course, this covenant, these promises, will change over time too, because we will continue to hold space for wonder and learning all through love, and our paper chain promises will grow and change just like each of us grow and change. But this is our work together as Unitarian Universalists, right? We make promises about how we want to be together and about the world we want to build, and then we help each other understand what those words mean, because some of them are really, really big. And then we help each other live into those promises together. Does this sound like something we can do together? Hands up if you think this is something we can do together. We can make promises and learn about what they mean and help each other live into them? Yeah, I think we can do this together. Well, thank you all for listening a bit to my story. We're going to add to paper chains later in the service. But for now, I'm going to invite you to go back to your seats. Thank you.
Please join me for a moment of meditation or prayer. Gathered as we are today, about 130 people in the room and 31 households on Zoom. Take a breath in and out. Find a comfortable place for your body as we begin. As the leaves continue to fall, our cycles of life continue to turn. As nature around us cycles through life and death, hibernation and renewal, we cycle through our own rhythms, transitions and new beginnings, grief and loss, joy and expectation, isolation and community. Knowing that all of us come with requests to be made and support to be given, we create a web of care out of our threads of need and of support. A friendly smile, a reassuring hand on the shoulder. We glean support from this gathered community. This web connects us and holds our concerns. We need a place to share them so that we don't have to hold them alone. Today, this community holds in light and love. Longtime member Phyllis Ballard reports that she will be soon entering hospice in Red Wing. She has been diagnosed with breast and bone cancer. She sends her greetings and love to all and asks for your prayers. We have a request for S. May you find sobriety, safety, and peace. Prayers for all the people of Israel and the Palestinian territories. May we remember that Palestinian lives matter. For Sophie, struggling with parents' divorce, hope you feel better. For my sister Laura, who was recently diagnosed with memory and cognitive issues. And now with your own voices, speak into this moment of stillness the names of those who you are holding in light and in love. Feeling connected in this mutual web, trusting in the support that it gives. May it be so. Amen. Please remain seated for our hymn, number 103, For All the Saints, in the gray hardcover hymnal.
Today's special offering is for Solid Ground, a longtime partner of WBUUC. Solid Ground, a local nonprofit based in White Bear Lake, serves more than 500 children and adults per year in suburban Ramsey and Washington counties. Most participants housed by Solid Ground have experienced long-term homelessness and other trauma, as well as struggles with mental illness, chemical dependency, and/or chronic health conditions. Solid Ground supports clients in pursuing health, education, and employment goals. They also provide enrichment activities for children to promote social, health, and personal after effects of COVID. All funds donated in today's collection will go to Solid Ground for their work to support families and prevent homelessness. We will pass the donation plates now, but you can also donate in 3 other ways: on the WBUC website, send a check or leave a check in the lock box outside the front office, or use the text to give option found in your order of service or in the chat box. Whichever way you give, please indicate the word solid. Thank you for your generosity in serving our world together.
Blood of Christ in the roots of your
Our readings today are the original articles of faith from our Unitarian and Universalist history. These are what our principles and purposes evolved from. And so I invite us to take a breath, to sit with these words, to see where they land, maybe sit with discomfort around word choices as we reflect on our heritage. From 1790, Universalist Articles of Faith. We believe the scriptures of the Old and New Testament to contain a revelation of the perfections and will of God and the rule of faith in practice. We believe in one God, infinite in all his perfections, and that these perfections are all modifications of infinite, adorable, incomprehensible, and unchangeable love. We believe that there is one mediator between God and man, the man Jesus Christ, in whom dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily, who by giving himself a ransom for all, hath redeemed them to God by his blood, and who by merit of his death and efficacy of his Spirit will finally restore the whole human race to happiness. We believe in the Holy Ghost, whose office it is to make known to sinners the truth of this salvation through the medium of the Holy Scriptures, and to reconcile the hearts and the hearts of the children of men to God, and thereby dispose them to genuine holiness. We believe in the obligation of the moral law as to the rule of life, and we hold that the love of God manifested to man in a Redeemer is the best means of producing obedience to that law and promoting a holy, active, and useful life. Take a breath. The next reading is from 1853, the Unitarian Association, Article 2. We desire openly to declare our belief as a denomination so far as it can be officially represented by the American Unitarian Association, that God, moved by his own love, did raise up Jesus to aid in our redemption from sin, did by him pour a fresh flood of purifying life through the withered veins of humanity and along the corrupted channels of the world, and is, by his religion, forever sweeping the nations with regenerating gales from heaven and visiting the hearts of men with celestial solicitations. We receive the teachings of Christ, separated from all foreign admixtures and later accretions, as infallible truth from God.
I'm privileged today to read the words that Jessica wrote for her sermon. So these are her words, not mine, but I give them willingly. In 1958, when this branch of Unity Church Unitarian decided to become a fellowship on its own, the founding name was the North Suburban Unitarian Church. Approximately 40 people attended on Sundays, and the church was in the process of discerning who they were. Part of that was taking stock of the theologies present. A questionnaire found that 17 members consider themselves to be humanist, 14 members consider themselves to be theist, and 6 members consider themselves to be other. Half of the people thought the main function of a Sunday service was intellectual stimulation, with 32% saying they thought it was inspiration. There were also suggestions for the Sunday services, such as occasionally leaving out the call to worship to the offertory and substituting a, quote, good long recording. There was another suggestion to leave out music occasionally. "19 people always wanted to have prayers, 14 said they wanted prayer occasionally, and 8 said never. And according to our history composed by Florence Jacques, the result of this questionnaire and the discussions that followed was that it brought people together to see the different viewpoints within the congregation, as opposed to splitting the congregation. The congregation decided to buy the Methodist Church in Mahtomedi, and with that, decided upon a new name. At the board meeting where this was decided, the options were Lake Drive Unitarian, White Bear Unitarian, Wayside Unitarian, Channing, Jefferson, Emerson, and North Suburban. Apparently, the argument about these names went on so long that some board members offered ridiculous names, and eventually there was a unanimous decision for White Bear Unitarian Church, and the incorporated name being White Bear Unitarian Society. I wonder what the ridiculous suggestions were, but our imaginations will have to fill in those blanks. At the dedication ceremony in 1959, the congregation unanimously read the act of dedication together. They said, quote, "We affirm our responsibilities as free men and women to our families and to our own best selves, to the noblest interests of our community and nation, to all the children of men everywhere on earth, and to the church as a witness to these responsibilities in our lives." It's kind of long. "We are determined here to respect the honest search for truth in all men and in all religions, and cherish that enlarging idealism which continues to grow in the hearts of living men and which rests on the future of mankind. We dedicate this church as a place where all men may worship in freedom and dignity and mutual respect and charity, where in the midst of diversity and differences, there may be found a unity and harmony of spirit and purpose. We dedicate this church to the preservation of personal integrity, the search for truth or a critical inquiry, the use of the democratic process in human relations, and devotion to the greater good of mankind." Oof. Our theme this month here is heritage, and you have just heard the words that the founders of this very congregation made to each other in its forming. And earlier in our readings, you heard the statement of faith that the Universalists and the Unitarians first made in their forming. In 1961, when the Unitarians and the Universalists merged, they made a statement of faith together that you heard during the Time for All Ages today. So let's just do a vibe check here for a minute. I'm guessing that many of you bristled at some of the word choices in the Articles of Faith and in the active dedication for this congregation. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Our covenantal faith is growing and changing. It is not fixed. It evolves and changes according to the needs of our time. So the word choices from 100 years ago, from 60 years ago, these are outdated word choices, but the sentiment remains the same. The sentiment of striving towards each person's spiritual path, working towards making the world more equitable and just. The current principles and purposes, which you can find in the front of your gray hymnals, were last amended in 1987. 36 years ago, these words were chosen as a statement of faith. In 2017, at General Assembly, which is our annual gathering of Unitarian Universalists, it is where we do the business within our denomination. At that 2017 General Assembly, a commission was formed to look at the principles and purposes and form new ones more current with our times. So new principles and purposes were formed and proposed last year, and they are undergoing a year of study before another vote at next year's General Assembly. You can actually see an image of the values that are being proposed on your screens or on the handout. Values such as interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity. And for many, the first response to this is pushback. It is wanting something different. It is recognizing that for many, the purposes and principles as they were are what brought people into Unitarian Universalism. Being part of a living tradition means that change is present. It means that our theology changes. Who we are and what we are for changes as we continue to experience the transformative power of love. And you can see in the image that love is what holds it all together. Through the definitions of each value, we hear the echoes of the previous principles and purposes, hearkening back to those original statements of faith. For instance, within the value of interdependence is our 7th principle. Within the value of pluralism is our 4th principle, a responsible search for truth and meaning. Within the value of justice is our 5th principle, the use of inclusive democratic processes, as well as the 8th principle. Within the value of transformation is an invitation to adapt to the changing world that we are part of, and it is an invitation to each person's own spiritual path. The value of generosity invites us to cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. And within the value of equity, we hear the echoes of the 1st principle. Equity invites us to declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. It also invites us to covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Therefore, as you have heard, these new statements of faith invite us to further deepening in our relationships with each other, further deepening within our faith. I invite you to spend a moment reflecting on which value speaks to you, which is calling to you and resonating within your heart. You have strips of paper at the end of your pews in baskets, and I invite you now to take one and pass them down and write down a sparklet of what is speaking to you this morning from this image. Write down something of what you think these new statements of faith are calling us to, what they're calling you to. Are they asking you to make a deeper commitment to your faith, your community? Take a moment and write down a sparklet that is speaking to you from this image. And for those watching online, you are invited to write into the chat box. Aaron will put the image back up during this moment of reflection and writing. In a moment, I'm going to invite you to turn to your neighbor and share what you have written. And after you share, I'm going to come around, I'm going to ask you to name out some of those words and phrases you've written. I'll also be sharing words from our Zoom participants. So take a moment, share with your neighbor what you wrote. All right, let's get some volunteers here. Let's see from this section. Can we hear some words and phrases people wrote down? Commitment. Justice. Love. Justice. Transformation. Systemic. Community. Generosity. How about over here? Say it again. Web of life. Transformation. Gratitude. Love. Giving. Pluralism. Sharing. Yeah. Heart-centered consciousness. Yeah. Balcony. Say it again. Okay. Sorry. Equity. Progress. Transformation. Love. Love and saying it in too many words. Interdependence. Any others? Justice. Unwavering inclusiveness, yeah. Back here. Peace. Interdependence. Any others? Generosity of love. I heard forgiveness. Online, I'm seeing, I love that love is at the center of this graphic. Love is at the center, feels very important, and word that was missing from our principles. I'm happy to see equity and pluralism, acceptance and understanding of each other, refreshing. Thank you all for engaging with that. So at Ingathering Sunday, this is Jessica speaking again, right? Jessica. At Ingathering Sunday in September, you were invited to write down on pieces of paper your visions for this congregation in 1, 5, and 10 years. Many of the reflections written down for the next year were around building community. And the 10-year reflections were about health and stability of the congregation and an openness to change. This year is a getting to know each other year. It is a building a community and connections year. It's a year of being open to change, being open to the ways that our faith articulates itself, and being open to the ways of this congregation that are changing with new staff and new members and different iterations of leadership. And love is at the center. Like our new principles and purposes, love is the covenant that holds us together. This morning, may you reflect on the love that is holding you here, especially when some resistance to change comes up. May you reflect on our long history as a people of faith and our history within this congregation that is different now than when it was formed in 1959. We will be different 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now, and love will still be at our center. And the power that is present from our shared values calls us to be together to continue to make this place a sanctuary for all who need it, and to continue to work to transform ourselves and the world into a more just and equitable place. I invite you to look around at this community. This is our community, but it is not the whole of our community. Our community is also online. Our community is also the people who haven't entered this place yet. As we settle within these new principles and purposes and find what resonates for us, may we center love in our interactions with each other and in our reaction to change. May you remember that you have each other as we move through this time. May you remember our rich heritage and strive to honor it with the ways that we treat each other. Our closing hymn today is Lean on Me, number 1021 in a teal softcover hymnal. As we talk about the power of words, this hymn does use brother and does not name the wide range of genders that are possible. So you're invited to either sing brother or replace it with the word that you choose that fits better. We are not formally changing these lyrics today because we want to recognize the cultural context that Bill Withers wrote them in. And the overall message is to go towards each other, to remember that we have each other, and that love is at the center. Please rise in body or spirit. Our closing words are from Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Go in peace. And as we leave, take your slips and put them in the basket. They'll be at the middle door on your way out.